Hello and welcome to RCM Tech Talk. I'm John Williamson, joined by Francis Burton. Today we're going to stay focused on helping rural hospitals keep their head above water in a complex environment. And we're seeing this firsthand, and I know you guys are experiencing it. So Francis, let's get into this with what are some of the top problems? I know we're going to get into the weeds of all these, but what are some of the list of top problems that you've and I have been seeing in these rural hospitals?
Well, at a high level, of course, it's all about the people, the lack of. You have your staff shortages, RCM director doing the job of a position that's vacant, can't get it filled, as well as her job. The technology, people are using an archaic EMR system or having to use multiple systems where part of the work, like the wound care division, is using a different software. So there's a lot of double entry. The patient billing is actually being moved to a different system. So there's multiple systems. The third thing is just the daily payer denial bombardment that everybody experiences, but it's trying to keep up with putting out the fires versus what needs to be done daily in a perfect world. And you can't do both. So just managing and prioritizing. If you can't do it all, how do you prioritize to where you're not losing the high dollar over the pennies?
Yeah. So let's maybe we'll drill down in several of these, and we're going to base this on what we're doing right now for rural hospitals. And, I think folks can glean a little bit of insight from this because they're going to recognize the problems. So very first thing, folks need to bring more cash in the door. And one of the best ways to do that is getting paid what you're supposed to be paid by identifying underpayments. So Francis, we've seen some changes over the last few years during COVID where Medicare established a new rate for certain types of billing that went out to the Medicare Advantage plans, which the volume of billing to Medicare Advantage plans has been growing significantly, causing a lot of problems. But what we saw there was that they weren't making the changes in their payment rate as instructed by Medicare. Millions of dollars are affected here. So, Francis, what can you describe a little bit in more depth the situation, what's going on?
Well, first of all, it's people. The organization realizes they're being underpaid. It's kind of known. They just can't say by how much, by which payer, by what kind of schedule are they using. So let's say they were supposed to go from 19% to 22% in October 23, but they couldn't prove that they were getting that change didn't happen. That shift didn't happen in that month. It happened later, and it only went from 19 to 20%. Or I've even seen where it went from 19 to 17.9. So proving it was the biggest problem. And then when we got into, okay, let's do this. Let's prove which payer is paying on what scale of their very own. They made their own scale, doesn't follow the contract. It was the eye-opening part of when you're unveiling, this is what it is. Oh my gosh, what are these other things? We got underpaid on this, but what are the ones we never got paid on? What is this other bucket that we got 100% was written off? That's not an underpayment. That's total no payment. So just the outliers of that, mission to prove underpayments revealed so much more. And that became now the new focus.